I'm JAIRUS of All, Master of None. This is my kitchen, and it's time to make some crazy hot sauce. I just asked you, my subscribers, on the community tab on YouTube if you wanted to see me make a video of me making the hot sauce from the peppers that I grew this year. The answer was an overwhelming yes, so here we are. So this is about an 8 or 9 gallon bucket that I used to ferment the peppers in that were left on the plants at the end of the season. They obviously aren't all ripe, but I felt like it would be a waste to just get rid of them. I already mulched down a blender full of them. Kind of crazy color. Should probably taste this now, see if it's any good. It smells good. Of the 24 different types, there were probably, I'd say 80% that were super hot, so it's hot. But it does taste really good. Since this is a huge batch, I have to do all of the blending. Whoa. That's not good. I need to blend it in batches, so I'm gonna fill the blender with some of them, blend them, and then I'll have to mix them all back together to homogenize it. You can see about how far I've gotten down through the bucket, and that pot is just about full. When you ferment this stuff, you can just put salt water in, 1 to 3% salt water, and it creates an ideal environment for lactobacillus to thrive, which is what fermentation is, at least for foods. Beer's obviously different, it's with yeast. I don't think this creates any alcohol. But it does create lactic acid, which is why it ends up being acidic. And my acidity level was good, but when you add vinegar, it lowers it further and then, you know, more shelf stable. I'm almost finished blending up all of the peppers. The bucket has a bunch of brine in it, and I want to save the brine because I'm going to mix it with the hot sauce, and I'm going to save it for other stuff because it's like a natural probiotic supplement. This stuff is like liquid gold. You don't want to get rid of this. But no matter how simple a project seems like it's going to be, you're always going to run into some problems, it seems like. And the problem right now is how to get the brine at least through the sieve and into the containers. And then I don't have any funnels. I don't have any way to get the brine into it, and I especially don't have a way to hold the sieve above it to pour the brine in because it's in that huge bucket. Here's my plan. I took a water bottle and I cut it off, and then I took a jug and I cut the bottom off of that. So that fits there, and that stays. At least it stays enough that when I'm holding the sieve in it, I can control it. But then I don't have a way to get the bucket into here. So I took this jug and cut it like a scoop so that I can scoop the brine out of the bucket and pour it into this, and I can get nice clean brine in that jug there. Problem solved. All right. Haha! Oh no, it's going too fast. Okay, I lost some brine. I just have to pour slower. That's why I needed this setup. It might not be made out of a paper clip and a rubber band, but I feel like the MacGyver would be proud of this. I got 4 gallons of it out. Bombs away. Now I'm going to put some of the brine back in to thin it down, and I'll do some vinegar until I get it to the pH that I want. See the different colors? That's why I need to homogenize it. And I need to add garlic powder because I did put some garlic in the container when I fermented the peppers, but I didn't have very much of it. I'm just gonna go get some garlic powder and throw it in. I wasn't sure if I was just gonna mix it and then strain it to make the smooth sauce, or if I wanted to do the stirring thing, because a lot of people make it in small batches and then they use these little things. It's a stir plate, and it has 2 magnets inside that spin around on a computer fan. And you put this little magnet on there, and when the computer fan spins, it makes that spin. So I need to stick this underneath the bucket, and then you let it go for a long time, and it makes the sauce it like blends the sauce, and it gives you a really consistent, very smooth sauce. It'd take forever if I was gonna do this amount with just a blender. I should also mention that technique that I'm doing, I found on Chilli Chump's channel. Thing is though, when he did it, he just had an Erlenmeyer flask that was 2 liters, and this is, the mash that's in here is really thick, so it needs thinned more. So I think I'm gonna add a bunch more of the brine back into it. And then I made this rig that this sits in, and the bucket will sit on this because the bucket can't sit on this little plastic. It'll smash it. Once I add a little more liquid back into it, this is gonna be 7 gallons, and that's gonna be a lot for this little tiny thing to spin, so I might have to let it in there for a while. Chilli Chump did his for 2 weeks. I was thinking about building something to stir this for a long time, but the amount of effort that it would take to build something that would stir it, especially if I put it through the airlock hole, and I'd have to worry about if it was plastic, if it leached chemicals out into the sauce. If it wasn't plastic, I'd have to worry about it corroding because it's salty and acidic inside here. This is made for it. I don't know. This is what I'm gonna do. I have no idea if it's gonna work. With a pH level of 4 and the salt that's in there, got like 3% salt in there. Bad bacteria and all that other stuff can't survive in that type of environment. Just lactobacillus can. So you don't have to worry about botulism. Botulinum is the bacteria causes botulism. It's what they make Botox from. That's the main concern with canning, but when you're fermenting, since it can't survive in that environment, then you don't have to worry about it. I'm not an expert on fermentation, but from what I understand, it's relatively foolproof. You don't have to worry about it too much. That could be wrong, but I ate a fair amount of this already and I feel completely fine from it, so. Oh no! The bottom of the bucket has ridges and a big dent in it. There's no way this is gonna work unless I modify it. Let me show you. See that? That's a problem. I took the guts out and put it on the bottom. And this case is so flexible, it's easy to run the wires through. I didn't even have to cut a hole. This is on the outside, and now this will fit in there, and this will go right up into where the bucket's at. Had to add cardboard. I didn't think it was touching, but it was just the smallest amount, and it wouldn't spin. I gotta get the magnet down there to it. You use a magnet on the outside and drag it down around and place it. Okay. It's going! So the problem was that I had to find a smooth spot on the bottom of the bucket because where it's injection molded, there's that little in the middle, so that thing won't spin right there. But around the center, move the little doodad off to the side enough that the magnet inside was spinning on a smooth spot. Now it's just a question of whether that'll do anything to stir 7 gallons of hot sauce. Gotta add my garlic. 1 cup of granulated garlic. Chilli Chump added a tablespoon to whatever amount he did, so I just figured out how much I should put in. And it was something like 15 tablespoons, which is basically a cup. I hope it was the right decision and it tastes good. I added another gallon of brine and I have 1 gallon left to be able to add to this. Oh, and I forgot to show you this. That's the last gallon I have of brine, and you can see that after it sits for a little bit, there's the mother. Ooh, I'm gonna put a flashlight on it. That looks magical. It looks like it's alive, and it is. But that's not why it's moving around. It's because I moved it, but yeah. And to put the airlock back on. I have it, why not use it? This has been going for about 2 weeks now since I blended it. At first, it would separate. You'd see the separation where it was stirring because it would have these stir lines in the stuff. So it was mixing about the bottom third of the bucket. So I'd stir it every couple days so that it worked out. Ferment is completely finished now. This separation here at the top. And at first I was disappointed in that because I was thinking that, you know, it was gonna suck because my hot sauce was gonna separate in the bottles and I'd get that weird layer in there, which I didn't want, which was the whole point of stirring it and letting it ferment again for so long so that it would get nice and even. But it's actually cool that that happened. Let me show you. See that? Clear hot sauce, or as near as makes no difference. There's a little bit of color to it. And this tastes almost identical to the sauce part. So I'm gonna siphon as much as I can of this off the surface without getting any of the pepper schmoo mixed in, and see if I can fill up the rest of the red bottles that I got from Amazon. I'll put links to this stuff in the description. And then I'll take the pepper schmoo and I'll make that into normal sauce. Oh, I didn't even show this to you. Here, look. It's definitely not pretty, but it looks pretty to me. Let's see how much I can siphon without getting the rest of the pepper in it. Oh no! Starting to pull in peppers. I got all these hot sauce bottles last summer because I wanted to try to sell hot sauce to help finance stuff for my channel. I should have done some research first because it's real hard to sell hot sauce. You have to have an industrial kitchen and you have to be FDA approved, and it's not easy. I should have researched it a little bit. Now I'm just gonna have a bunch of hot sauce to use or to give away or something. That might be too much. Oh no! Perfect. I'm not going to show you me doing all of these, but I will show you this one as an example. I can't say that. You pop your little pour spout on, and then you put your cap on, and then you take your little shrink wrap. Makes it look super fancy. And then you just hit it with a heat gun. How professional does that look? Look at how cool they look. They need labels though. Now it's time for the much more labor-intensive part. Taking this regular sauce, running it through a strainer, and then the stuff that I get in the pot, I'll put in the bottles, and the stuff that I get in the strainer, I'll put in plastic bags and I'll freeze it, because you can still use that stuff for cooking with. This part's gonna be time consuming, but it's gonna net me somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 6 gallons of sauce, I hope. This is gonna take a real long time. Sorry for the not so great camera angles. Also, my apartment is very small. By the way, for you germaphobes out there, I washed my hands and I washed all this stuff, but this is fermented because it's filled with bacteria. It's alive. So if you're one of these, oh my goodness, I can't believe you didn't wash your hands type of people, fermentation probably isn't for you. You can ferment stuff without even putting a lid on it and just letting it sit out. and you just skim the garbage off the top that grows on it. This also has a salt and pH level pH is so low and salt is so high that nothing harmful could grow in it. You just move it around to get the pulp that's clogging the strainer out of the way so that more of it can filter. See that nice, smooth, beautiful hot sauce? Figured I'd show you one of the normal sauce bottles. Woo! She's a bubbling. Oh no, too much. See, I got too much in there. The solution is to use one of these little droppers and draw some out until it's at the right level. Perfect. Dropper. Cap. Shrink wrap. Whole bunch more to go. I'll be honest, this isn't the best hot sauce that I've ever had, but it is good, and I'm proud of it because I made it. And I think it looks cool, but I knew it would look a lot cooler if I put labels on it. So I'm going to read you the story that I wrote on the back label while I put these stickers on. All through the growing season, a few unlucky juvenile peppers are knocked from plants during harvest. Those fallen, unripened peppers are frozen to preserve their unique character until season's end. As the autumn chill descends, the young late season peppers desperately cling to life, knowing they will never reach ripened maturity. But I believe all peppers are valuable, and the youngsters are harvested just before the murderous frost descends. This year, a truly wondrous family reunion took place between all of the often discarded and forgotten fruits from the entire season. They met in an unforgettable number while undergoing a fermentation that preserved their combined wondrous qualities, thus immortalizing the historic event of 2018. This filtered liquid retains a living culture of the pepper's bacteria and only the finest remnants of the departed hot peppers. I call it schizophrenia. Personalities from 24 unique hot pepper strains collide inside of a smooth, living liquid fermentation party. This carefully separated clear brine contains the essence of the hot peppers and a living culture of the bacteria they contained. I call it clearly schizophrenia, a special blend of 24 unique peppers with their personalities preserved in a clear, living liquid. I made these stickers with some sticker sheet that I got at the store. You can just print on it with an inkjet printer, and then I cut them all out by hand. And I just designed the thing in Photoshop. If you're wondering how much I got from that huge bucket, it ended up being about 6.5 gallons of the liquid, and then I got a gallon of pepper mash, so I have tons of it. I wish everybody watching this could taste this, but I'll do my best to describe it. It has a really hard upfront heat kick, bites hard. It's pretty hot, but not so hot that it's inedible. And I think the heat fades very quickly. I don't know if that's a product of the fermentation or not. You can't taste the garlic very much in it. I could have put more in, but it does have a very green flavor, probably because the vast majority of peppers that were in the fermentation were completely unripe. They were green. Well, it tastes green. It's a little bit vinegary, but it's not nearly as vinegar tasting as Tabasco or something like that. And this one tastes almost identical to this one. Very little difference in the way these taste. This one's just cool because it's clear. Next week's the video for my micro mass rocket heater build, so sub if you want to for that. And I did a couple more podcasts with the Fortress of Solidudes, so if you want to watch those, check them out. And big thanks to Chilli Chump for the video that talked about making fermented hot sauce. I'll put a link to that video and his channel in the description because it has way more information and he's a lot more knowledgeable about doing this stuff than I am. And I'll probably put the names of all the peppers that are in this stuff on the screen so that I don't have to say them because it's a long list. Anyway, that's it. We'll see you next time. Bye. Super healthy for you because it's a lactobacillus. What do they call that? It's a beneficial bacteria. It's a probiotic. That's what it is.